I stood in the kitchen, absently stirring a cup of tea, my mind swirling with lists. Decorations, catering, music. My son's 18th birthday was just a week away, and he was determined to make it unforgettable. It was a little overwhelming, but if anyone could pull off a grand party, it was him. I took a sip, letting the warmth spread through me. At 42, I often felt younger than my age, maybe because I refused to be boxed into the motherly image some women my age resign themselves to. I stayed active, kept up with fashion, and never stopped learning. It was no surprise, then, that my son's friends adored me. They always joked that I was the cool mom, the one who actually understood their world. Mom, my son, Ryan, burst into the kitchen, his hair slightly tousled from sleep, his face lit with excitement. We need to finalize the guest list today. Oh, and you have to help me pick out an outfit. I chuckled, setting my cup down. You, needing help with an outfit? That's a first. He grinned, leaning against the counter. Well, it's a big deal. 18's huge. I gotta look perfect. You always look perfect, I said without thinking, but it was true. Ryan had grown into a striking young man, strong, confident, and effortlessly charming. He had a magnetic presence, one that drew people in. He smirked, grabbing a banana from the fruit bowl. See? That's why you're my favorite person. You get me. His words filled me with warmth. We had always been close, perhaps closer than most mothers and sons. Maybe it was because his father was constantly buried in work, always too busy to engage in the little things. It had been Ryan and me against the world for years, sharing inside jokes, late-night talks, and an unbreakable trust. All right, let's sit down and go over the party details, I said, leading him to the dining table. We spent the next hour planning everything, food, music, even the lighting. He wanted a sophisticated, elegant vibe, something more than just a typical house party. Mom, you'll be there, right? Like actually there, not just hovering in the background. I raised an eyebrow. Of course I'll be there. Who do you think is keeping this event from turning into total chaos? Good. He leaned back in his chair, studying me with an expression I couldn't quite place. You know, my friends keep saying how lucky I am to have a mom like you. I laughed. They only say that because I don't nag you guys about your loud music and messy rooms. No, it's more than that. His voice had softened. You're just different. Younger, I guess. You actually care about what we think. It's cool. I felt a warmth rise to my cheeks, an odd sense of pride. Well, thank you, Mr. Almost Adult. That means a lot. He smirked, tossing his banana peel into the trash. Just don't be surprised if half my friends spend more time talking to you than to me at the party. I rolled my eyes. Oh, please, they'll be too busy dancing and showing off. He shrugged. You'd be surprised. As the week passed, the house slowly transformed. String lights were hung in the backyard, the sound system was tested, and the caterer confirmed the menu. One evening, Ryan came home with his best friend, Jake. I had known Jake for years. He was practically part of the family. Hey, Mrs. K. Jake greeted me with his usual easygoing smile. Jake, you know you can just call me by my name, I reminded him for the 100th time. Yeah, he grinned. Force of habit. The boys plopped onto the couch, laughing about something I wasn't privy to. I stood by the kitchen counter, watching them for a moment. They were on the cusp of adulthood, but in some ways still just boys. Ryan caught my gaze and smiled. What? Nothing, I said, shaking my head. Just wondering where all the years went. His expression softened. You say that like I'm moving away tomorrow. You're not getting rid of me that easily. Good, I said lightly, but deep down I knew things would change soon. He was stepping into a new phase of life, and while I was excited for him, I couldn't deny the bittersweet ache of knowing our bond would inevitably shift. The party was drawing closer, and I could feel the anticipation in the air. I wanted everything to be perfect, not just for Ryan, but for this moment in time. A celebration of everything he had become. And perhaps, in some ways, a celebration of the unspoken connection we shared. The morning sunlight streamed softly through the blinds as I tiptoed into Ryan's room, a tray balanced carefully in my hands. The smell of fresh coffee, eggs, and pancakes filled the air. I wanted this morning to be perfect for him, something warm and intimate before the chaos of the party later that night. He stirred slightly as I set the tray down on his bedside table. I took a moment to admire his peaceful expression, the way the faintest trace of childhood still lingered in his face when he slept. But today, my son was no longer a child. "Ryan," I whispered, brushing his dark hair from his forehead. His eyes fluttered open, and for a moment, he looked confused before a slow smile spread across his face. "Happy birthday, baby," I said softly, leaning down to kiss his forehead. He stretched, his muscles tensing beneath the sheets as he blinked up at me. "Breakfast in bed? Wow, I must be special." I chuckled. "You are. 18 is a big deal, after all." He sat up, rubbing the sleep from his eyes, before glancing at the tray. "You made pancakes? With extra syrup, just how you like them," I said, handing him a fork. He grinned. "You're the best, Mom." I perched on the edge of his bed as he dug into the food, watching him with a strange mix of pride and melancholy. This was the last birthday I'd celebrate with him as a boy. Next year, he'd be an adult in every sense, stepping fully into a life that would inevitably take him further away from me. Without thinking, I reached out and hugged him tightly, burying my face against his shoulder. "I love you so much, Ryan. I'm so proud of the man you're becoming." He hesitated for only a second before wrapping his arms around me, his warmth wrapping around me like a protective shield. "I love you too, Mom." The moment lingered, unspoken emotions swirling between us, until I finally pulled away, blinking back the moisture in my eyes. Okay, enough of the sappy stuff," I teased, ruffling his hair. "Eat up. You have a huge night ahead of you." The house buzzed with preparations all afternoon. Balloons in sleek black and gold were strung along the backyard, fairy lights twinkled across the fence, and the DJ was setting up near the patio. The guest list had reached nearly 100, a mix of his school friends, neighbors, and teammates. Ryan had disappeared into his room, busy getting ready, while I focused on my own preparations. I wanted to look perfect tonight, not just for him, but for myself. I stood in front of my mirror, carefully smoothing down my dress. It was a tight-fitting, silky pink number that hugged my body in all the right places, elegant yet playful. My short platinum blonde hair was loose, styled in effortless waves that framed my face. My makeup was flawless, soft, shimmering eyeshadow, a hint of blush, and my signature bold red lips. I slipped on my white heels, the ones that made my legs look impossibly long, and surveyed myself one last time. I didn't just want to look good. I wanted to be unforgettable. When I stepped into the backyard, heads turned. Ryan's friends, gathered in clusters around the bar and the dance floor, noticed me immediately. Some of them exchanged glances, nudging each other. "Wow, Mrs. K," one of them blurted out. "You look amazing." I laughed, feigning modesty. Well, I couldn't let Ryan have all the attention tonight. Ryan himself had just emerged from the house, dressed in a crisp button-down and dark jeans, looking every bit the birthday king. He spotted me immediately, his eyes scanning my outfit with something I couldn't quite place. "You look different," he said, his voice unreadable. I smirked. "Good different or bad different?" He tilted his head, a slow grin spreading across his face. "Good. Definitely good." Something in my chest tightened at his words. The party was in full swing within an hour. Music thumped through the speakers, guests filled every corner of the backyard, and the air was electric with celebration. Ryan was the center of it all, laughing, dancing, and basking in the attention. I kept to the sidelines, sipping my drink and enjoying the energy around me. But every so often, I would catch someone looking at me, whether it was Ryan's friends, the DJ, or even Ryan himself. At one point, Jake, his best friend, made his way over to me. "Mrs. K," he greeted, his usual boyish smirk in place. "I just have to say, you're putting every girl at this party to shame." I raised an eyebrow. "Oh, is that so?" He chuckled. "Seriously, I think half the guys here are trying to figure out if they should be hitting on you or just feeling incredibly intimidated. I laughed, shaking my head. They should just be enjoying the party. He gave me a knowing look but didn't push further. Instead, he clinked his drink against mine before heading back into the crowd. I turned, scanning the crowd for Ryan, and found him standing near the bar, watching me. The moment our eyes met, he quickly looked away, taking a sip of his drink. Something about his reaction made my stomach flutter. As the night wore on, the energy only intensified. The dance floor was packed, the drinks were flowing, and for the first time in a long time, I let myself enjoy the moment without overthinking. At one point, Ryan appeared beside me, his expression unreadable. "Having fun?" he asked. I nodded, smiling. More than I expected to. He hesitated before saying, "You're different tonight." "Different how?" "I don't know," he admitted. "You just stand out." I studied him, noticing the way he shifted slightly, his fingers curling around his glass. Before I could respond, someone called out his name, and just like that, the moment was gone. He disappeared back into the crowd, but I could still feel his presence lingering. And as I stood there, beneath the soft glow of the fairy lights, I realized something. This wasn't just a birthday. It was the start of something I didn't quite understand yet. But whatever it was, I wasn't sure I wanted it to end. The party had reached its peak. The bass of the music vibrated through the warm night air, guests swayed to the rhythm, and laughter mixed with the clinking of drinks. I had positioned myself near the dance floor, a glass of champagne in my hand, content with simply watching the energy around me. But then something unexpected happened. "Mrs. K, would you like to dance?" I turned to see Liam, one of Ryan's closest friends, standing before me with a confident, playful smile. He was a charming boy, always respectful, always polite, but tonight there was something else in his eyes, a glint of mischief, maybe, or admiration. I hesitated for a moment. "Oh, Liam, I don't know if that's a good idea. I wouldn't want to embarrass myself in front of all you kids." "Embarrass yourself?" he scoffed. "You look way too good tonight to just be standing here watching. Come on, just one dance." He extended his hand, and before I could fully process the situation, I found myself accepting it. Liam led me onto the dance floor, twirling me effortlessly into the music. The beat was fast, intoxicating, the crowd around us hyped up by the sight of me joining in. I laughed, my body moving naturally, easily falling into step with him. It felt good to let go, to be free, to remind myself that I wasn't just a mother, I was still a woman, still full of life. But then, out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of Ryan. His expression had changed. The easygoing, relaxed birthday boy had suddenly stiffened, his jaw clenched, his hands curled into fists. He was watching me, watching Liam, and there was something unreadable in his gaze. Possessive. Territorial. In a swift motion, Ryan strode toward us, cutting through the crowd without hesitation. "All right, Liam," he said, his voice calm but firm. "That's enough." Liam chuckled, still holding my hand. "Relax, man. We're just dancing." I said that's enough. There was no mistaking the authority in Ryan's tone. It wasn't a request, it was a command. Liam hesitated, glancing between us, then slowly let go of my hand. He lifted his palms in surrender. All right. No problem, birthday boy." With that, he stepped back into the crowd, leaving me standing there, still breathless from the dance. I turned to Ryan, tilting my head. "Ryan, that was unnecessary." He met my gaze, something flickering in his dark eyes. "I just didn't like it." I raised an eyebrow. "It was just a dance." "Then let me be the one to dance with you," he said, his voice lower now, more intimate. "Bachata." I inhaled sharply. Bachata? Of course. It was our dance. Years ago, when Ryan was younger, we had watched a movie together where the main characters had danced bachata, their bodies moving in perfect sync, wrapped in tension and passion. He had asked me to teach him then, and I had laughed, pulling him into my arms, showing him the simple rhythm of the steps. Now he was no longer a boy fumbling to follow my lead. Now he was a man standing before me, asking me to dance in a way that didn't feel innocent anymore. The song changed, the soft, sensual guitar of a bachata melody floating through the air. Ryan held out his hand. "One dance," he said. I hesitated. I should have said no. I should have walked away. But instead, I placed my hand in his. The moment his fingers closed around mine, something shifted. Ryan pulled me closer, his other hand resting low on my back, guiding me effortlessly into the rhythm. Step, step, tap. Our bodies moved in sync, seamlessly finding the familiar flow of the dance. The music was slow, hypnotic, and suddenly, we weren't just another pair on the dance floor. We were something else entirely. I felt the heat of his touch through the thin fabric of my dress. I felt the strength of his frame pressing against me as we moved, our hips swaying in perfect unison. I felt his breath against my cheek when he leaned in slightly, murmuring, "You still remember the steps?" I swallowed, my voice barely above a whisper. "Of course." He chuckled softly, his grip tightening just enough to make my heart race. The crowd around us disappeared. It was just us now. Step, step, tap. He twirled me effortlessly, his fingers tracing the curve of my waist as he pulled me back in. Our chests brushed, and I gasped softly at the contact. The air between us thickened. His eyes, dark, intense, searched mine. For a brief, reckless moment, I forgot everything. Forgot that this was a party. Forgot that people were watching. Forgot that he was my son. All I knew was the music, the warmth of his body, the way our movements fit together so seamlessly, as if we had been dancing this way for years. I felt something dangerous flicker inside me. Something I shouldn't have felt. Something I couldn't name. Ryan's hand pressed just a little lower on my back, guiding me even closer. Our bodies molded together. Step, step, tap. A sharp breath left my lips. Ryan heard it. He noticed. And for the first time, I saw it, the moment of realization in his eyes, the understanding that this dance, this moment, was no longer what it should have been. His hold on me lingered for a beat too long. Then, just as suddenly as it had started, he let go. The song ended. The spell broke. I took a shaky step back, my breath uneven, my heart pounding. Ryan stared at me, his expression unreadable. And then, without a word, he turned and walked away, leaving me standing there, confused, breathless, and completely, utterly shaken.